Papel Picado is a bridge to like the country and the culture that I left behind as a kid, having moved to the US at an early age. Whenever I decided to explore the tradition of Papel Picado, which is really like a cultural like treasure of Mexico, I didn't just want to take it out of context because there's generations of artisans who have been essentially preserving this tradition. By using these tools, it kind of allows me to have a conversation with people about the tradition and the amount of dedication and labor that goes into producing these banners that you see at restaurants or you see at parties. And it provides people with a larger context for the works. Being able to use this tradition and this method in order to tell stories of my family's immigration story in a way that it connects with other people who have similar experiences is everything for me. Sometimes we would make the papel picados ourselves to hang. The way we would make them, we would just grab the paper and we would fold it and we would cut it with scissors, and then we would just hang them on strings and then hang them from the altars. Whenever I looked at the subject matter and the images that were in my paintings, I really realized that it was a celebration of my culture. I was in grad school and I wanted to incorporate Papel Picado into my thesis exhibition. But whenever I started looking into Papel Picado, I found like a lot of it was mass produced. So then I was like, I'm gonna produce my own Papel Picado for my exhibition. And that really kind of started that journey of diving into Papel Picado. Whenever I teach the workshops, I think it's really important to teach people about the tradition of Papel Picado, seeing it as a cultural artifact with histories and traditions and like cultural value. But more than anything is about using like the traditional tools, like the chisels and the punches, because oftentimes a lot of people's first experience is in Spanish class where they make the papel picado like I did as a kid, where you fold the paper and you cut it with scissors. But whenever the process shifts to using the chisels, it's definitely a lot more labor intensive. And that's not something that people think about oftentimes, is the amount of work that it takes to punch out an entire design. We are going to be creating Papel Picado using some traditional tools and the way that they were originally made. So the way that Papel Picado artisans typically work is they will take a stack of tissue paper like this, right? And what they will do is they would create a template. What these templates do is essentially they tell you kind of what tools you need to use, right, in order to recreate the pattern. With this, artisans are able to create the same design over and over again so that they can make hundreds of banners. I'm gonna be giving y'all kind of like this gridded paper. I use the gridded paper a lot. There's a couple of key elements in Papel Picado designs. One of them is gonna be kind of like these scalloped edges. Those are created using kind of like these little half circle leather punches that you see here. You can make a lot of really cool things just using basic shapes. What I'm doing with this one, right, is I'm choosing one shape, and what am I doing? I'm creating a circle around that little star, right? Then I switch it to this teardrop shape, and I create a circle around it. And then I take the flowers and I create a circle. And if you look at this, the majority of these shapes are going to be circles that are different sizes, right? We have ovals that are different sizes, right? I would say grab about 4 to 5 sheets, and then y'all will grab one of these gridded papers. You can use paper clips. I also have some binder clips, and I'll put those on the table. As you can see, your tissue paper is bigger than your gridded paper, so you can essentially work all the way up to the edge. Now from here, It's totally up to you to start designing what you want your papel picado to look like. I'm gonna do a design very similar to what I did on this one right here. Which one is it? On this one right here, where I'm just gonna kind of like repeat some of these shapes. So I'm gonna take some of these tools, and I'm also gonna take a cutting mat. What we'll do now is we'll take one of these. I'm just gonna take this square one. So I'm gonna basically take this, turn it at an angle, and hit it. When you hit it, it's actually gonna punch out the shape that you have created. Y'all see that? But now, right, you start creating this like pattern on your paper. Y'all see that? And the beauty of this, right, is you can go from something super, super basic to creating much more complicated shapes like this, right? And it's just using a variety of those curves, right, and those straight lines, and you can kind of combine those chisels to create more complicated shapes. In order to create those scalloped edges, what we'll do is we'll hit it once, and then we'll line up the edge of the half circle with the ending of the previous one. And you repeat it over and over again. You get these beautiful little scalloped edges. Y'all see that? Awesome, right? At the root of it, the reasons why I love doing the workshops is the aspect of representation, reminding people that these are handmade goods, and there's value in their knowledge and their dedication to preserving the craft. I would love it if like people went to the class and then they went and made their own papel picado, because in a way that's how the tradition will continue living on, is by people learning about it and continuing to do the craft.